Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome. Today's topic is the 1882 Cleveland Blues MLB baseball season. Again, the Cleveland Blues were playing in the National League, the senior circuit, and they were playing again at Kennard Street Park. That was their home field in Cleveland. And they had a respectable year in 1882. The team finished in fifth place with a record of 42-40, 2 games over 500, a winning percentage of .512. 12 games behind the Chicago White Stockings, who won the National League pennant in 1882. The Chicago White Stockings with a record of 55-29. The second place team in the National League was the Providence Grays from Providence, Rhode Island. They were 52-32. Third place, the Boston Red Caps, 45-39. Fourth place, the Buffalo Bisons, 45-39 as well. Fifth place, the Cleveland Blues at 42-40. Sixth place, the Detroit Wolverines at 42-41. Seventh place, the Troy, New York Trojans, 35-48. And in eighth and last place, the Worcester, Massachusetts Worcesters, 18-66. Yeah, so that was the standings for the National League in 1882. Now the everyday lineup for the Cleveland Blues in 1882, we had a new catcher. His name was Fatty Briati. Not very politically correct. Briati was from Lansingburg, New York. He died in Chicago, Illinois in 1903 at age 44. Died fairly young. His career batting average was .228 with 271 hits and 115 RBIs. Briati played for the Troy Trojans, Cleveland Blues, Cincinnati Outlaw Reds, St. Louis Maroons, Kansas City Cowboys, and Detroit Wolverines between 1880 and 1888. They called him the Alderman. In 1887, he was suspended mid-season for drunkenness. He won a title in his year with the Detroit Wolverines, and after he retired as a player, he was a committeeman in the 17th Ward for Lansingburg, New York. So he was in local politics, and he got into the trucking business. He died at age 44, dilation of the heart. So Fatty Briati was the guy behind the plate for Cleveland in 1882. Bill Phillips was back at first base. Phillips had a fine year, hit .260, 17 doubles, 7 triples, 4 home runs, and 47 RBIs. And again, our second baseman was the tremendous star Fred Dunlap, who hit .280, 19 doubles, very good, 4 triples, and 28 RBIs. After the team started with a record of 0-4, and the player manager was Jim McCormick, and then it was decided a change was made, so Dunlap was the manager for the rest of the year, player manager, and his record as manager was 40-42. Jack Glasscock returned as our star shortstop, and he had another fine year. Glasscock hit .291, 27 doubles, wow, 9 triples, 4 home runs, and 46 RBIs. So that was, for that era, that was really good. Those were very good numbers, especially since the home runs were down. It was the dead ball era, and so doubles and triples were important, and he had a lot of those. Now, we had a new third baseman in 1882, Mike Muldoon. Hit .246, 17 doubles, 5 triples, 6 home runs, and 45 RBIs. So we got some offense out of third base. Muldoon was from Westmeath, Ireland, so he was an immigrant. He was Irish. He died in 1917 at age 58. The location is unknown. He played for the Cleveland Blues and the Baltimore Orioles between 1882 and 1886. So this was his rookie year. Mike Muldoon, the Cleveland slugging third baseman for the Blues. In the outfield, Orator Schaefer was back. He had an off year. His batting average was down. Hit .214, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, and 28 RBIs. Schaefer could play defense, and he had some power. The other outfielder, again, they didn't keep track of positions, was John Richmond. He hit .171, 6 doubles, 2 triples, 0 home runs, 11 RBIs in 41 games. Richmond was a shortstop and center fielder. He was from Philadelphia. He died in Philadelphia in 1898 at age 43. Died young. His career average was .238, scored 239 runs. He played in 440 games. He played for the Philadelphia Athletics, Syracuse Stars, Boston Red Caps, Cleveland Blues, Philadelphia Athletics, Columbus Buckeyes, and the Pittsburgh Alleghenies between 1875 and 1885. He's interred at the Northwood Cemetery in Philadelphia. John Richmond. Dude Estabrook was another regular outfielder. He was a new guy. He hit .246, 4 doubles, 3 triples, 0 home runs, and 19 RBIs. Estabrook, they called him Dude. His real name was Thomas John. He was mostly a third baseman, also played first base and the outfield. He was from, Estabrook was from Staten Island, New York. He died in Middletown, New York in 1901 at age 43. Another guy who died fairly young. His career average was .261, 210 RBIs, 55 stolen bases. Estabrook played for the Buffalo Bisons, Cleveland Blues, New York Metropolitans, the New York Giants, Indianapolis Hoosiers, Louisville Kentucky Colonels, and the Brooklyn Bridegrooms between 1880 and 1891. He also managed the Louisville Colonels, player-manager. Mostly a third baseman, played on many games at first base. Best year was 1884 when he hit .314. Now, he died at age 43 because he leaped from a train in Middletown, New York, transporting him to a mental hospital. Oh, very sad. He's buried in Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. Dude Estabrook. Tragic end to his life. Now, the bench players included John Kelly, who hit .135, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs in 30 games. Herm Dasher came off the bench, hit .240, 2 doubles, 10 RBIs in 25 games. Dave Rowe was a new player. Rowe hit .258, 4 doubles, 3 triples, 1 home run, 17 RBIs in 24 games. He also did some pitching. He was a regular player. As a pitcher, he was 0-1 with an ERA of 12.00, 1 start and 1 complete game. Rowe was a center fielder from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He died in Glendale, California in 1930 at age 76. In his career, he played 347 games, scored 223 runs, batting average of .263. Rowe played for the Chicago White Stockings, the Cleveland Blues, Baltimore Orioles, St. Louis Maroons, and Kansas City Cowboys between 1877 and 1888. He also managed the Kansas City Cowboys, player-manager. His brother Jack Rowe was also an MLB player and manager. Rowe pitched in 4 games in his career. On July 4th, 1882, Rowe allowed 35 runs scored and in a game and 12 earned. That was a record. 35 runs scored in a game. He's buried in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Dave Rowe. John Tilley was a new player. Tilley hit .089, 1 double, 1 triple, 0 home runs, 4 RBIs in 15 games. Tilley was an outfielder, born in New York, New York. He died in Newark, New Jersey in 1927 at age 72. His career average was .138, 0 home runs, 4 RBIs, and 138 at-bats. Tilley played for the Cleveland Blues, the Toledo Blue Stockings, St. Paul Whitecaps between 1882 and 1884. So this was his rookie year. In a brief, modest career, John Tilley. Julius Willigrad was a new guy, hit .139, 1 double, 1 triple, 0 home runs, 2 RBIs in 9 games. Willigrad was an outfielder shortstop from Marshalltown, Iowa, died in San Francisco, California in 1906 at age 49. His career average was .154, 0 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 39 at-bats. He played for the Detroit Wolverines and the Cleveland Blues in 1882. So he just had the 1 year of Major League Baseball. His father was an immigrant from Hanover, Prussia, which is now Germany, and he was a machinist. His mother was an immigrant from Bavaria, which also is now a part of Germany. And Willigrad played in the minors from 1879 to 1881 for the Omaha Green Stockings and the San Francisco Knickerbockers. In San Francisco, this would be the minor leagues, he led the league in scoring despite a .207 average, so he could run. In his final MLB game, he had a triple and scored 4 runs, which is a record for the most runs scored in a player's last MLB game. He died of a gastric hemorrhage due to a stomach ulcer. Died in San Francisco, buried in Riverside Cemetery in Marshalltown, Ohio. So even though he died in San Francisco, they brought his body to his home in Iowa. Julius Willigrad. Bill McGonigal was another bench player. McGonigal hit .200, 1 hit, 5 at-bats in 1 game. McGonigal was an outfielder, pitcher, manager from Boston, Massachusetts. He died in Brockton, Massachusetts in 1899 at age 44. His career average was .173. As a pitcher, his record was 11-8 with a 2.81 ERA. He had an extensive career as a manager. His record was .327 and .248. Very good. He played for the Buffalo Bisons and Cleveland Blues from 1879 to 1882, and he was a manager for the Brooklyn Bridegrooms, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Louisville Colonels from 1888 to 1896, so that was strictly as a manager. They called him Gunner or Mac. In 1885 in the minors in Brockton, he was hit by the pitch, had a fractured skull. The Brockton Weekly Gazette wrote, quote, McGonigal dodged the first ball thrown at his head. With the second, he needed to drop to all fours to save himself. The unfortunate batsman could not avoid the third ball in time, and it struck him directly behind the left ear, which caused a crash that was heard in every part of the grounds. Poor Mac fell like an animal beneath the butcher's axe, and his quivering form was drawn up in agony, and he lay upon the ground. So that hit by the pitch and broken skull ended his playing career. And there had been a recent rule change in that year which allowed overhand pitching. Apparently before you had to pitch underhand. The pitcher's rubber was 50 feet from the plate, so it was a lot closer. It was moved back to 60 feet 6 inches. McGonigal, as manager of the Brooklyn Bridegrooms, won pennants in 1889 and 1890. In 1897, he was involved in a carriage accident. McGonigal and other men were thrown from the carriage, and he was injured and in poor health till his death in 1899. He has the best winning percentage of managers in Brooklyn. And when he won those 2 titles for the Brooklyn Bridegrooms, they were back-to-back years in 2 different leagues, the American Association and the National League. Now that's unique in American sports history. It's only happened 2 other times that teams have won titles in consecutive years in different leagues. The other times were the Minneapolis Lakers, who were champions in 1948 in the NBL, and the following year, 1949, in the NBA. And it happened with the Cleveland Browns, who won the championship in the AAFC in 1949, and then in the NFL in 1950. So, the story of Bill McGonigal. Doc Kennedy was another bench player. He hit .333, 1 hit, 3 at-bats in 1 game. John Dwyer was a new player. He played in 1 game, had 3 at-bats, did not get a hit. Dwyer was a catcher outfielder from Lisbon, Illinois. His death information is not known, and his MLB career was just for Cleveland in 1882, that 1 game. He did not get a hit. Now the pitchers, Jim McCormick, again, was the workhorse as a hitter. McCormick hit .218, 7 doubles, 3 triples, 2 home runs, and 15 RBIs in 70 games. Again, he was the player-manager for the first 4 games and had a record of 0-4 as a manager. And his pitching record was 36-30, won 36 games, an ERA of 2.37, really, really good. Pitched in 67, had 67 starts, 65 complete games, and 4 shutouts. Another incredible year for Jim McCormick. Another pitcher was George Bradley. Bradley, as a hitter, hit .183, 5 doubles, 6 RBIs, and played in 30 games. Bradley's record as a pitcher was 6-9 with an ERA of 3.73, 16 starts, and 15 complete games. So that's the story of the 1882 Cleveland Blues, who played Major League Baseball in the National League and had a decent year, a respectable year, 2 games over 500. God bless everyone associated with the Cleveland Blues in 1882, especially the fans, or including the fans, especially the Civil War veterans. Now it's been 17 years since the war ended. These guys were still alive, but they were getting older, and they got to see baseball become America's national pastime, the game that they popularized during the war, playing it as they traveled during their travels during the war. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue, and the Fountain of Eternal Life. Tribe, Browns, and Cavs rule. Cleveland, city of champions. It's been 70 years since 1948. This is our year. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You might consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.